quite impressive, but it's right into the sun. These are the trucks at the quarry actually being filled up. This is ballast that goes on the railways all the way up to London. The locomotive's just taken the train and one truckload on. Must be a slow process as it came through hours ago when we were first walking. The trucks are all marked Network Rail. The whole thing was privatised in Thatcher's time, but it's all been such a disaster that most of things like the track, maintaining the track, some of the stations are all taken back into public ownership, and that's the actual public company there, Network Rail. But I think the locomotive that's hauling this train is actually private ownership. It's American company, WS. Locomotives moving up the train again, another truck length. The AWS, it's an American company, even though it's called English, Welsh and Scottish, it's actually an American freight company. You can see it's all clapped out, old, scrapped locomotives and carriages and trucks, and I think it's all been bought up, and the whole idea is it's being preserved, but the preservation is a bit come and go here, and they've recently lost funding as well. That's an old freight locomotive in a right state. This one here, this one's the first in the line of stuff that I'm not even sure if they're going to preserve them. I wouldn't surprise if they're not all just cut up in the end. This is a really old freight diesel locomotive, where it wasn't even a freight when it started. This was built about 1957. It's one of the original one of the original diesels that replaced the steam trains, and it was still running when there were steam locomotives around. So it's over 50 years old, and it looks it. That blue, that light blue, that started off as mid blue when that's a heavily vandalised, what they called a slam door suburban coach from London area in about the 1950s into the 60s before they were replaced. So that's pretty ancient as well. Got some really old stuff here. Next to it is that electro diesel, is it another one? I can't remember. This place, it's quite big as quarries go. But it's right on the, well, it's in Dartmoor. It's right on the verge of where all the tours start. I don't know what tour that is behind, but that's one of the Dartmoor tours there. We're not very far from the highest tours on Dartmoor, which are Yes Tour and High Willers. You can see where they mount up all the ballast, and then it comes through all these conveyor belts and goes into the train. And like I say, I'm pretty sure that's all the ballast for the truck in the whole, at least the south of England, possibly the van there. And even that is preserved, I think, because they don't use those small hoppers anymore. Strange it's still got stone in it though. These passenger coaches look a bit strange, stuck in a quarry. Again, they're relatively old, southern region, more London way. For 3 rail. They wouldn't have got pulled by diesel or electric. They've actually got a power unit in there, or did have. This is the end of the line here. This used to be a main line. It used to run all the way through down to Plymouth and on into Cornwall, starting from Waterloo station in London. And so this is still continuous railway line to London, if you like, wherever you like in the country, and it actually ends here. They closed the line. It was a main line, but there was another main line going to more or less the same places, and so back in the 60s they closed it. And just after they actually closed the line, where the line ends, which is where those coaches are, there's a viaduct, a really smart viaduct which they built to take the line, because we're in the foothills of Dartmoor here, like I said, to take the line over quite a deep valley. That's a viaduct, which is now just a road bridge. Well, it's not even a road bridge, it's a cycleway with a duggy on it. That's looking back towards the quarry. I'm standing on the viaduct now, and over here you can see Dartmoor's just about to break out. And here's a reservoir. Can't remember which one offhand. Dartmoor's dotted with reservoirs, especially in the south, places like Plymouth and Torbay. Quite big reservoirs. Obviously there's a lot of catchment up here. This is the far end, the west end of Meldon Viaduct. It doesn't look that impressive, but because you can't get to the edges because of all the safety features, you can't get to the edges and really look down. It was double track, but it's now just got a central cycle and walking path, and then all these safety barriers. So that's a bit of a shame, but it is a long way up. And this, I think it was the most expensive piece of engineering on the track, certainly west of Exeter. There's big stone viaducts, but this is actually a metal viaduct, and it looks quite modern. I think it was built a fair time ago, 1890, something like that. Actually still looks very modern, but they might have rebuilt it. I don't really know the history of it. Gives you a better idea of the structure. It does look very modern. I'm beginning to wonder if they actually rebuilt it. Complete waste of money if they did, because it probably only went on for about another 20-30 years. I'll have to read up on it. It's looking a bit more 1890 now. It's looking a bit more Eiffel Tower. Ooh, it's a long way up there already. Ooh, it's a long way up there. And down here is Mrs. Hogg and the car. I think that's a car there, but the viewfinder's so crap.